Okay, let's talk about inspiration, and more importantly, what to do when you don't have any. You're sitting in an exam hall or in a classroom or in an office, and you're told that you have to write something and you have exactly 0 time to write it in, or else. What do? Your whole life depends on it. The whole universe has now turned against you, and you're sitting there with fistfuls of hair that may or may not have come from your own head. That's how premature baldness starts. Let's not focus on my baldness for the moment, but rather let's bend our attention to the problem at hand. I was asked recently how you go about writing a story, a good story, within a very brief amount of time. In other words, before a deadline. So imagine sitting in an exam hall writing an English exam, for instance. You're giving a vague topic and about an hour to write it in. What do? To start with, there is a difference between inspiration and creativity, and for that matter there's a difference between inspiration and motivation. Motivation implies that there is some sort of external reward, gratitude, an ice cream, a fat sack of cash, not being thrown into a river while wearing concrete shoes. Inspiration is an internal drive. It's that little spark that makes us want to do and be better, cooler, and oftentimes it is its own reward. Inspiration isn't just limited to the realm of the artistic either. You can feel inspired to walk your dog, or do some baking, or watch a video about how to feel inspired. Creativity is really just how you do the work you do once you feel inspired to do that work. Back to the problem at hand. You have a topic and you have very little time. Too little, in fact, to sit around and wait for inspiration to strike, because that's the problem with inspiration, right? It strikes at the most inconvenient times, like right before you go to bed, or about an hour after you've had an argument where you've just realized that you should have said this one thing that would have completely ruined the other person's whole day. But inspiration is certainly not making its appearance right now while you are sitting there staring at a blank page. What do? Well, there's a bunch of stuff you can do to help get the inspiration to flow. Some psychological studies have suggested that not putting too much pressure on yourself is a good way to start feeling inspired. Other handy tricks could be things like reading, taking a walk, partnering up with someone to bounce around some ideas, to just allow yourself to have a mental break. And that is super, super good advice. I have mental breaks all day, every day, and I am full to the brim with inspiration. But you don't have time. No. You need to write a story, and you need to write it right now. And not just a story, it has to be a good story. It's time to turn to good old creativity. Sure, inspiration may not be quite so forthcoming as you need it to be, but creativity is always there for you. And if that fails, you always have motivation, whether it's positive motivation or a negative motivation. They're all great motivators to get you creative.